What's up, guys? I got this. I have this binder here of cards. My buddy, he was looking at some of my decks, and he's like, "Yo, you have this really nice mill deck." And honestly, I wasn't really playing it because I don't play mill. That's not my style. Um, but so he was looking at this mill deck, and he's like, "Yo, I really want this mill deck." And he had this nostalgia deck. I'm like, how badly do you want it? He's like, I'll give you this nostalgia deck for it. So, me, being the good Samaritan I am, I said, okay. I said, you wanna give me these old cards that I'm clearly collecting? By all means, that's on you. I said, you do you, but just know, and I told him this before I even handed him the deck. I said, just know, A, the deck isn't all that great, and B, you're trading me and getting way undervalued for these. He said, well, I realize that. I said, alright, just making sure. I said, because I'm not gonna cheat anybody. Alright, let me see if I can't get this camera angle set up. I don't know how well this is gonna work, but here, this might look a little weird. Okay, so this is the binder of everything. So we have some 3rd edition, 4th edition. We even have some unlimited. So I'm gonna start with the lands that he has, or that I now have. I mean, this was one that I had a long time ago. Obviously there's a little bit of wear on the edge there, and it's not really worth grading. And this one has a little bit of wear up here in the corner. I don't know if you can see that or not. A little bit. But the front of this thing, I mean, it's phenomenal. Just beautiful. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of wear up there in the corner, if it'll focus. So, obviously, there's some wear. But for the most part, a lot of these cards are really nice, and they're in really good condition. And I even warned him, I said, I don't want to just take your cards from you. I said, but by all means, if you want this mill deck, go for it. So I can go down through and go on and on and on about lands, but I have this one that's really fun. It's unfortunately not in very good condition. But I have this glacial chasm, and as you can see, it's fairly worn. If I'd even give this a condition, I would say very heavily played. Like I said, it's clearly been worn. Somebody loved this card a lot. I did try and flatten it a little bit because it was bent when I got it. But definitely not going to send this one off for grading. Definitely not something that I'm too terribly proud of, although it is, an oldie. It's not exactly a great one because it's in poor condition, unfortunately. So there's a good amount of the lands. I'm not going to get into them too much because I have a bunch. But so then there's he sent me a bunch of these ghosts. He didn't send me. He traded me a bunch of these cards, and I'm just going to go down through them real quick. So I've got all my black cards, all sorts of craziness, and like I said, I've got other lands scattered and mixed in. But then he sent me a bunch of, well, he didn't send me. I don't know why I keep saying he sent me. He traded me a bunch of blue cards. I've got all sorts of crazy stuff. Some of this was stuff that I had already if you watched my previous video on valuables. Puppet Master, Sea Monster, that's a fun one. We've got and then we've got stuff like Veil Shadow. None of this is really too expensive. And then we get into the red cards. And I'll be honest, my favorite color for older cards is red ones. This needs organized a little better, but I've got 3 of these Ailer Stings in various conditions. Some of them on the back are kind of eh. And Barbarian Guides, Cinder Seer. I've got a crap ton of those. I've got a buttload of these Kolos yearlings. The Battle Frenzy, Dwarven Warriors, all sorts of fun stuff. Wall of Heat. It's like Wall of Ice, but for red. Kind of a cool one. Fling. This is a fun one. Amazing. Amazing stuff. And then I have this black one in here because it kind of fits the theme of these two pages. Drain Life. Spend only black mana on X. Drain Life deals X damage to target creature or player. You gain life equal to the damage dealt, but not more than the player's life total before Drain Life dealt damage or the creature's toughness. So that one's just a really fun one. Creature removal stuff. And then we've got stuff like this. Threshold, if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, it gets +2/+2. It's a 2/2 for 3 mana. So if you have a bunch of cards in your graveyard, it's a 4/4 for 3. Okay, guys. I'm gonna do some organizing here real quick. I apologize. I'll be back. Hold on. Okay, much better. Now that I'm done, like, half beating OCD here. Then we've got, like I said, all these green cards. I have old elves. Elves are, like, my favorite creature type, if you guys didn't know that. If anyone should decide to send me anything, elves are definitely something I'm after. And then I've got, like, cool stuff like this. A saber-toothed Cobra deals combat damage to a player. He or she gets a poison counter. During that player's next upkeep, he or she gets another poison counter unless he or she pays 2 before then to prevent the effect. If any player has 10 or more poison counters, he or she loses the game. Kind of a fun one for poison counters. This is a fun one. I don't quite know what that is. I think it's Deity. I'm not 100% on that. All blocking creatures get +0/+3 until end of turn. Really nice, fun one. We've got all sorts of craziness. Provoke. Like I said, my stuff isn't really in order. That's an M9. It's kind of an older one. Elvish Scrapper. It's an elf. I can sacrifice it to destroy target artifact. And then this is kind of the end of my binder because I don't really have a whole lot. But I've got some Arabian Nights, protection from white. I've got all sorts of craziness. The vultures, like that, I haven't seen those be a thing there for a while. Reveal the top card of target opponent's library to all players. If it's a land, gain 1 life. That opponent then shuffles his or her library. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Real fun one. Here's a fun one. So, before Vigilance was even a thing, like I was saying, before Vigilance was even a thing, they had to kind of put it in there without putting it in there, if that makes any sense. So I have two different renditions of, yes, Vigilance was a thing for the longest time. It just wasn't always called Vigilance. So we've got Standing Troops. Attacking doesn't cause Standing Troops to tap. It's 8th edition. And then we've got this, which is, I can't read that right now. Come on. Alright, so this one, if I can get my hand right, is 1995. And this one is 93 to 2003. But this one's fun because it doesn't tap when you attack with it. It's a 1/4. They're both 1/4s, but they have the same thing where they have Vigilance without having Vigilance. And then various other things, just really fun. Like tap target creature. I ought to go down through and organize this better. I probably will then after this video. I'll give you guys an update. I've got a Pegasus. It's a 1-3 with flying and banding. I'm not quite sure what banding does. I'll have to Google that. Let me know down in the comments if you know what banding does. But yeah, so just real fun, crazy stuff. Like I said, I traded a deck for most of these. Here's a fun one. It plays for 1 an island and a swamp. Bury target creature. That creature's controller may counter this spell by paying the creature's toughness and life. Effects that prevent or redirect this damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. And then, like, certain things that I already had, but then we've got cool stuff like Tower Drake. Never had that one. Vidalian Serpent for 2, you can give it Kicker. It can't attack unless defending player controls an island, and if its Kicker was paid, it enters battlefield with 4+1/+1 counters on it. So it becomes a 6/6. But, like, we've got 7th edition there, 9th edition here. This is, I'm not sure what edition. It's 96, so that's probably 3rd edition. 34th edition. This one's 93 to 2003. All sorts of cool stuff. So, let me know in the comments down below what you want me to do next. And don't forget to like and subscribe. That's all I got for this video, guys. I hope you have a good one, and I hope you enjoyed the video.